Hello everyone, welcome back to CGB Mentors. Please let me know once if I am properly audible and visible. Okay, so I believe that everything is fine. In this class, we are going to do the top 50 MCQs for the Companies Act. I believe that all of you are doing fine and your preparation is going well. So this session is going to be a very important session for you all, because some of this session will be a revision kind of a session. Okay, so whatever you have studied, we will revise that also, and you will be able to test yourself also that how much ready you are for the examination, right? Okay. So we are going to start our session now. See, the first question is from the basics wala chapter of the Companies Act, which is asking you कि there are how many sections. Okay, so this question is asking you that there are how many sections in the Companies Act. Okay, so please let me know. I want all of you to answer in the chat. Let's make this session interactive. Yes. Okay, so the correct answer is C. There are total 470 sections in the Companies Act. Okay. Let us read the explanation also. So there are 29 chapters, okay, and there are 470 sections, and there are how many schedules? 7 schedules. So please remember this static part, because although it seems to be very easy thing, but IBPS asks question from these kind of things. Okay. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Next question is asking you about the section number related to a particular type of company. Okay, so we have studied in our classes that there are different type of companies. Okay, so this particular section is trying to ask you कि according to section number 2 subsection 6, there is a particular type of company which is known as the associate company. So what will be known as the significant influence? So if there is a company A that is having a significant influence in company B, right? So how much percentage of voting right or power of voting right company A should have in order to have a significant influence in the company B? That is the point this question is trying to ask you. Okay, so please let me know the answer. Yes, it is 20%. Okay, so what happens is कि if a company is having 20% voting right, okay, or a significant influence or a control in what? In the composition of the board, right? Then what will happen is कि this company will be known as the associate company of company B. But if the scenario is similar, but the provision is something like that, that company A is having what? 50% of the voting right or a significant control over the position or composition of the board, then what will happen is कि company A will be known as the holding company. In this scenario, it is holding company, and then this company B will be an subsidiary company. But otherwise, what happens is कि here in this particular case, if the significant influence is 20% only, then they are having a relationship of what? As an associate company. Okay, so this was all about this particular question. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Okay, next question is section 2 subsection 68. Okay, so this section teaches you about what? This section teaches you about the definition of a private company. Okay, so as we know that in a private company there are maximum number of people can be how much? Okay, the maximum number of members of a private company can be 200 members, right? But in this limit of 200, who are the people who are excluded. Okay, some people will not be mentioned in this particular limit. Okay, so you have to answer that कि कौन included नहीं होगा. Okay, so the answer to this particular question is option number E. See, option number E is telling you कि any person who was an employee of the company, ठीक है, and who have taken the shares of the company, the person who have become a member of the company during his employment, okay, that person will not be included. अगर वो former employee भी है और also the current employee भी है. Okay, so these people are not included in the definition of what? In the limit of 200 member in the definition of private company. ठीक है, so this was all about this question. Also another point here is कि if there are any person who are joint holders, okay, तो 200 की limit में if there are people who are joint holders, they will be counted as one member only. Okay, तो ये वाला point is also there in this section. Please remember the section number कि section number 2 subsection 68 is talking about the private company. Okay, प्लीज़ रिमेंबर कि हमने अभी पढ़ा था जो कि हमारा क्या था, एसोसिएट कंपनी की डेफिनेशन का सेक्शन नंबर ऑल्सो, बिकॉज इन एग्जाम द क्वेश्चंस विल कम डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम द सेक्शन नंबर्स. ओके, नाउ वी आर मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 4 विच इज आस्किंग यू that as per which section of the Companies Act every company making public offer or other class of public companies shall issue the securities in dematerialized form. Okay, so according to which section the companies who are making either the public offer or any other class of company who are public companies, they have to do what? They have to do the keep the securities in the dematerialized form only. Okay, so you have to tell me the answer for this particular question. See, the answer here is option number D, which is section 29. Okay, so section 29 tells you कि if there is any offer which is made to the public, ठीक है, either public company is doing that. We have read in section number 23 that public company, what they can do is they can make the they can issue their securities by any way, ठीक है, either IPO, FPO, ठीक है, और offer for sale they can do. They can also do the private placement, and also what another thing they can do is they will do the public issue. Okay, because public company है तो that is their primary thing only कि they can do that. तो in the public issue वाला जो हमारा point है, in that particular point definitely they have to keep their securities in the what? In the dematerialized form. So this section was trying to teach you this thing only. Okay, now we are moving forward to the next question, question number 5. Okay, please try to answer this particular question. So let us read once ki what this question is asking from you. A company proposing to make an offer of securities may issue a red herring prospectus prior to the issue of a prospectus and shall file it with the ROC, right, with the registrar at least dash days prior to the opening of subscription list and the offer. ठीक है, तो what happens is कि there is a section which is talking about the red herring prospectus. Firstly, try to tell me the that particular section also which talks about the red herring prospectus. Yes, it is section number 32 which is talking about the red herring prospectus. Okay, so this prospectus is issued by a company to facilitate what? To facilitate book building. Okay, so there is a process where the company will try to find out the price of the shares through the analyzing the market demand, ठीक है, of the shares. तो this particular process is known as the book building. तो उसको facilitate करने के लिए the company is issuing red herring prospectus, ठीक है. and this prospectus will be issued what? Before the original prospectus, से पहले it is issued. Also in this particular prospectus जो हमारा price of the securities and the quantity of the securities is not mentioned. That will be mentioned where? In the final prospectus. तो ये वाला जो prospectus है वो कब issue होगा? Prior to the original जो हमारा offer है उससे कितने days पहले it will be issued, right? That is the question. So the answer here is 3 days. ठीक है, तो prior to the opening of the subscription list से 3 days पहले the company will issue what? The red herring prospectus. Okay. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Okay. So next question is asking you section number 24. Okay. Section number 24 tells you the issue and transfer of securities and also the non-payment of the dividend will be governed by a particular authority. So this question is asking you कि in case of listed companies and also the companies who are intending to get listed, okay, या तो आप already list हो चुके हो or what you have done is you have done whatever the procedure for getting listed that you have already implemented, then in that scenario all the issue and transfer of securities that you are doing as a company and also the non-payment of dividend will be governed by a particular authority. So you have to answer what is that authority. Okay, so that authority is SEBI. Okay, section number 24 is telling you कि if there is any issue and transfer and non-payment of dividend वाला scenario of which kind of companies? Of listed company or the company who are trying to or intending to get listed. ठीक है, in that scenario all these matters will be resolved by whom or seen by whom? By SEBI. But if there is any other matter, okay, any other matter of any other type of company, then that will be seen by whom? By CG, that is central government, or by the tribunal. ठीक है, तो all other matters of these companies and also of the other companies, this particular matter of other companies and any other matter of these company and other company will be seen by whom? By CG and tribunal. Okay, so this was the section number 24. These were the provisions that was section number 24 was trying to teach you. Okay, now moving forward to the next जो हमारा question है. Okay, so question number 7. Question number 7 is asking you कि as per section number 26, please remember the section numbers because direct question can come from the section number. If you are not remembering or if you are forgetting the section numbers, then definitely you are betraying yourself for the examination, right? Now what this question is trying to ask you is कि for how many days from the date of filing with the ROC, ठीक है, can a prospectus remain valid? तो section number 26 is all about the matters to be stated where in prospectus. Okay, so which all are the matters जो कि prospectus में होने चाहिए? This section is very important from functional point of view of this chapter. Chapter number 3 was teaching you what? कि prospectus and allotment of securities is the name of the chapter, right? तो ये जो हमारा section है ये बहुत ज़्यादा important है from the functional point of view कि this section was teaching you everything कि what will be the documents that are required, which people will sign the prospectus, whose consent is required, whose declaration is required. But from IBPS point of view, in this particular section, only one question or one point is most important. Although IBPS can ask anything, but this particular point seems to be most important as per the trend. The IBPS is asking the question. So it is asking you कि once the prospectus has been filed with the ROC, for how many days it will remain valid? So it shall remain valid for how many days? For 90 days. So the correct answer here is answer number D. Okay, now moving forward to the next point. Also in this particular section there is a provision for penalty also कि if the company is not following the provision of this section तो ये वाली penalties will be applicable on the company. So in this section these 2 points are most important from the IBPS point of view कि number 1 point is कि how many days के लिए the prospectus will be valid and another point is कि what will be the penalty that will be imposed on the in case of default, right? Now we are moving forward to the next question. Next question is question number 8. Okay, Okay, so let us read question number 8. Question number 8 is asking you कि which section of Companies Act provide that a company cannot change the objects for which money was raised through a prospectus unless approved by a special resolution. Okay, so what happened here is कि company has issued a prospectus. Now what happened is कि people have subscribed to their securities by reading the terms those were mentioned in the prospectus. After everything or whole the process has been completed, what company is trying to do is कि people have given the money, application money people have provided, then what happened is कि company has allotted them the securities also, everything has happened, but now company is trying to change the terms that are mentioned in the prospectus. Is that possible? Yes, that is possible by passing which kind of resolution? Firstly, so you have to remember in this section कि special resolution is to be passed, okay? And another thing is the question is asking you कि which section is trying to teach you this. So the answer here is section number 27. So section number 27 teaches you the variation in the terms of prospectus. Okay. So what happens here is कि once the company has decided to change the terms of the prospectus, what will happen is कि they have to firstly pass a special resolution. Then what they have to do is they have to publish the new terms where in the newspaper, which one newspaper will be a English wala newspaper and another one be in the vernacular language mein hoga, whatever is the local language of the place where the registered office of the company is located or situated. Okay, and then the people, there will be some people those who will not agree with the new terms and conditions of the prospectus, right? So those people will be known as what? Will be known as the dissenting shareholders, and these shareholders will be given an opportunity to exit from such offer, and at what price they will be given this opportunity will be decided by the whatever provisions has been provided by the SEBI. ठीक है, तो Companies Act is not talking about that. Companies Act is telling you कि ठीक है, variation करना है तो special resolution pass कर लीजिए, and also you have to do what? You have to give the notice in these kind of newspapers, right? Now we are moving forward to the next section, which is asking you कि under section number 31, okay? This question is asking you कि under section number 31 of the Companies Act, before making a second or subsequent offer under a shelf prospectus, okay, which form must a company file with the ROC? So we have studied, or you must have studied कि जो हमारा shelf prospectus होता है, it is valid for how many days? For 1 month, okay, for 1 year, okay, so it is valid for 12 months, okay. So what happens is कि company have to do a lot of formalities in order to do what? In order to issue a prospectus. It have to take the consent from a lot of people. They have to do a lot of paperwork. So in order to avoid that, what certain classes of company, those who are permitted by the government, what they will do is they will issue a हमारा जो prospectus है, that will remain valid for 12 months. And whenever they are making issue, the next issue, what they will be doing is they will be releasing an information memorandum which will be containing a lot of contents of the price or the quantity or any other important content regarding the issue of the securities. तो जो भी वो contents होंगे, that will be mentioned in the information memorandum. But what they have to do is they have to file this information memorandum with whom? With the ROC, okay, in a particular form number, and the question is trying to ask you कि which is that form number, okay. So let us know which that form number is. That form number is form number PAS2, okay. So the answer here is B. So PAS2 form number में the company have to file the information memorandum, okay, with the ROC. Please remember section number 31 is teaching you about the shelf prospectus, okay. Now moving forward to the next question, which is question number 10. Question number 10 is asking you about the section number 447. So there are a lot of sections which are teaching you कि if there is any non-compliance that has been conducted by either the company or any of the officer of the company, ठीक है. So in case of the default, what will happen or what kind of penalties will be imposed on either on the company or of the officer? So in this particular question, what you have to answer is कि what is the maximum term of imprisonment prescribed for fraud in relation to a company? तो maximum term of the imprisonment क्या होगा? ठीक है. This section is trying to ask you this, okay. I would like and I would want to tell all of you, please let's make this session more interactive. Okay. Yes. So what happens here is कि the maximum term is 10 years. ठीक है. So the minimum imprisonment can be 6 months and the maximum can be 10 years. Also the amount of penalty that will be imposed will be the amount of fraud that has been conducted. जितना भी amount का fraud हुआ है that much amount, और maximum कितना हो सकता है 3x of that amount. Okay, so this was all about section number 447 का penalty वाला provision. This section is important because a lot of sections where in the end the penalty का provision has been given, they have clearly mentioned कि we will impose the penalty as per section number 447. So this section is an important one. Please try to remember this. Okay, now we are moving forward to the next question. Question number 11. Okay, so question number 11 is asking you कि under section which, section number 39 of the Companies Act, what is the minimum application money that must be paid by an applicant while subscribing to the securities. तो minimum application money as per the Companies Act you have to tell. Okay, there are two things. It is also given by the SEBI also. ठीक है, certain regulations, and question can come or has been asked in the previous question, previous years from this particular point also, but here you have to tell it according to the Companies Act only. ठीक है. So please let me know the answer. Yes, the answer here is the 5% of the nominal value. Okay, nominal value का 5% will be the minimum amount of money that will be given by an applicant of the shares on the application पर. ठीक है. According to SEBI, how much it is? It is 25% of the issue price. ठीक है. तो nominal value is basically the face value. Issue price can be different from the face value. Either premium is added in it, or what happens is कि if the acts or the provisions provide कि discount पर भी issue हो सकते हैं, like in the case of sweat equity share or in the case of any debt reconstruction or restructuring वाली scheme में, then in that scenario discount will be added. ठीक है, मतलब deducted. तो issue price is calculated by adjusting these two things, while the face value is basically the हमारा nominal value is the face value. Okay, so this was all about this question. Section number 39 is teaching you कि the minimum application money should be how much? 5% of the nominal value, and according to the SEBI के rules it is 25% of the issue price. Okay, now we are moving forward to the next question. Next question is question number 12. Okay, question number 12 is asking you कि according to section number 39 of the Companies Act, within how many days of allotment must a company having share capital file form number PAS3 with the ROC. ठीक है, तो company who have issued the share capital, now what they have to do is allotment has been completed. Now they have to file the return of allotment. Okay, with whom? With the ROC. In form number which? In form number PAS3. Please remember the form numbers also, because the question can come from the form numbers also, right? So in how many days they have to file the return with the ROC? This is the question. Okay. So the answer here is 30 days. Okay, so you have to file the return in 30 days. Okay. See, there is a point here कि in most of the provisions or in most of the sections, what they have done is कि whatever the returns or intimation that you have to give to the ROC, the provision has mentioned it कि 30 days में you do that. Okay, most of the sections में ऐसा है, but there are certain sections specifically in the chapter of auditor वाला, ठीक है, कि वहाँ पर they have mentioned कि there is a limit either less than, which is generally 15 days, जो कि आपको intimate करना होगा to the ROC. So if there is any such kind of question comes and what you get confused कि कितने days में हमें file करना था ROC को, तो even if you are getting confused, what you can do is कि if you are thinking कि चलो mark तो करते ही हैं this answer, तो it would be better कि you mark 30 days. Okay, so might be that there will be a chance that you will get a correct answer for that particular question that you are marking in the examination, right? Now moving forward to the next question, which is section number 42 से related. Okay, it is asking you कि if a company fails to allot securities within 60 days, okay, section 42 talks about the private placement, right? So agar 60 days ke under the company is not allotting the securities of receiving application money and does not refund the money also in next 15 days, then what is the interest rate that is applicable? So what happened here is ki application money has been received by the company and now the company have to allot the securities in the 60 days. If the company have not done that, what will happen is ki in next 15 days the company have to refund the money, okay? If the company has not done that also, then what will happen? Then what will happen is ki company have to refund the money only, but with a certain amount of interest the company have to refund it, okay? So they are trying to ask you ki how much is that percentage of interest that will be applicable in this particular scenario. So please try to answer it. So here the answer is 12%, okay? So if the company is not doing what? Is not refunding the money within next 15 days, what will happen is the company have to refund the money with interest of 12% per annum, and that interest rate will be applicable from which particular from which particular date? तो 60 days में आपको refund करना था and from next 15 days में 60 days में allotment करना था, but if you have not done that in next 15 days you have to do what? You have to do the refund, okay? But that also you have not done, then you will be refunding with interest here, and that interest rate or is applicable from the 61st day से ही interest charge करना start हो जाएगा, interest will be applicable, okay? So this was the provision of section number 42 which talks about the private placement, okay? Please remember the section numbers because these are very important. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Question number 15. Okay, so question number 15 is asking you कि as per section number which? Section number 54 of the Companies Act, what is the maximum limit for sweat equity shares that a company can issue during the lifetime? तो कितनी amount is the maximum that a company can issue for the sweat equity shares, right? In the lifetime, during the lifetime, maximum कितनी amount हो सकती है as per section number 54? That is the question here, okay? Please try to answer it. Yes, so the answer here is 25% of the paid up equity capital, ठीक है? तो maximum lifetime के लिए it is 25%, but for each particular year it is 15%, okay? So let us try to understand it कि according to section number 54, the maximum amount or maximum जो आपका sweat equity shares the company can issue is how much? It is 25%, ठीक है? Of the paid up equity share capital. Please remember the paid up. Paid up is basically nominal value और face value या issue price जो हमारा होता है, that is different. But paid up is कि maybe there is face value 10, company has called up 8 only, and also the people have paid only 7 only. तो जो paid up से multiply करके number of shares की value आएगी, that will be the paid up equity share capital here that we have to see, right? That is point number 1. Point number 2 is कि 25% is for the lifetime. Also 15% of the existing paid up equity share capital or shares worth rupees 5 crore in a particular year, this much is the maximum, whichever is higher, this much is the maximum जो कि एक financial year में company can issue for the what? For the sweat equity shares. And lifetime के लिए how much? 25% it is. Section number 54 is teaching you the sweat equity shares का provision. Please remember the section number also. And also the minimum lock-in period for sweat equity shares is 3 years. To remember this limit of 3 years also. So this was all the important point of section number 54 and this question. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Next question is question number 16, which is asking you कि as per which section? Section number 55 of the Companies Act. What is the maximum period for which a company can issue redeemable preference shares, ठीक है, other than a infrastructure company? So redeemable preference shares can be issued, ठीक है. We have seen according to section number 55 that irredeemable preference shares are not allowed in our country particularly, but some other जो jurisdictions हैं, other any of the foreign वाली, there it can be allowed, but in our country it is not allowed, ठीक है. तो what can be the maximum period for the preference shares? The maximum period for the preference shares is 20 years, okay. But for the infrastructure companies, how much it is? It can be maximum 30 years, okay. So please try to remember this, try to remember the section, क्योंकि आपको क्या रहेगा, you will remember कि अच्छा redemption का जो हमारा time period था, that is 20 year and 30 year in case of the respective companies, right. But what you will forget is the section number, which section is trying to teach you this. Section number 55 is trying to teach you this, okay. Now we are moving forward to the next question, question number 17. Okay, so this particular question is asking you कि according to section number which? Section number 56, within what period must a company deliver share certificate in case of transfer and transmission of securities? So what happened is कि there is Mr. A who was holding the security of the company, and now this person is transferring whatever shares he had or held to whom? To Mr. B, right? So in that scenario what will happen is कि उन्होंने तो they have done the formality, whatever the formalities were required on their behalf, but the company will also issue what? The share certificate in this scenario. So in case of transfer of or transmission of securities में, in how many days or what is the time period in which the company will give what? The share certificate, right? So the answer here is 30 days, okay. So transfer or transmission के केस में this time limit is 30 days. In case of allotment of securities, this time limit is 2 months, ठीक है. And in case of what? In case of debentures, it is how much? It is 6 months, ठीक है. तो please remember कि transfer के केस में it is 1 month और 30 days, ठीक है. 2 months for what? For incorporation के केस में या allotment of securities के केस में, and also for debentures के केस में it is 6 months, okay. Allotment of debenture वाला case, right? So in this particular timeline, the company can issue what? Can issue the certificates of the respective securities. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Next question is question number 18, which is asking you कि under section number 63 of the Companies Act, which of the following reserves cannot be utilized by a company for issuing the bonus shares, ठीक है. तो अगर bonus का issue हो रहा है, then which reserve will not be utilized, okay? This is the question here, okay. Please try to answer this. Okay, so answer here is revaluation reserve, okay. So bonus can be issued from the free reserves, okay, or any other reserve which has been specifically formed for what? For the issue of bonus, right? तो यहाँ पर हमारा bonus issue हो सकता है free reserve से, security premium से, and also the capital redemption reserve जो कि बनाया गया होगा when the certain amount of preference shares or any other amount of capital that has been redeemed, okay. तो what will happen is कि in this particular scenario, the revaluation reserve will be the reserve that cannot be utilized, okay. Now we are moving forward to the next question, which is question number 19. Question number 19 is trying to ask you कि according to what? According to section number 68 of the Companies Act, okay. You have to answer कि how much could be the debt equity ratio after the buyback. Section number 68 teaches you about the buyback, right? So you have to answer कि how much could be the ratio of aggregate जो हमारे secured and unsecured debt है owned by a company after buyback should not exceed to, किससे maximum नहीं हो सकता है, right? That is the question here, okay? So the answer here is 2:1, option number C, ठीक है. तो जो हमारा debt equity ratio है cannot be more than 2:1 in case of or after the buyback, okay. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Next question is asking you that in the scenario of buyback only, section number 68, for how many months after completing a buyback of securities is a company prohibited from issuing the further securities of same kind? So there was a company who has issued or who have bought back a certain kind of securities, and that particular company cannot issue the same kind of securities for certain period of time after the buyback. So this question is trying to ask you, okay, what is that certain period of time? Okay, so please let me know in the chat section that how much will be the time or what will be the answer of this question. Okay, so for 20 the answer is B. ठीक है, 6 months. तो 6 months के लिए same kind of securities you cannot issue, but are there any exceptions to this particular point? Yes, there are certain exceptions also. कि if the company is issuing the same kind of securities through certain ways. What are these ways? Number one is either through bonus, ठीक है, either through ESOP. ESOP is basically an option has been given to the employees of the company कि after a certain period of time what they can do is they can have an option to take the shares, right? तो अगर ESOP के scenario में they are issuing same kind of securities, or in case of sweat equity, section number 54 we have seen, and also for the conversion of preference shares or debenture. So there were certain preference shares or debenture, those were convertible, right? And now they are getting converted after certain period of time. Then in that scenario what will happen is कि these kind of securities that has been bought back, they can be reissued within a time limit of 6 months also. Okay, so this was all about section number 68 का provision, which is teaching you about the buyback. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Next question is question number 21. Okay, question number 21 is asking you कि as per section number 71, okay, what is the maximum redemption period for secured debentures? You have to tell for the secured debenture issued by a company other than any specified company. So for a normal company, what will be the maximum period of redemption of debenture in case of secured debenture? Okay, this is the point that question is trying to ask you. Okay, so please try to answer me this. Okay, so the answer here is 10 years. Okay, so answer here is 10 years. Okay, so now moving forward to the next point, which is teaching you कि secured debentures, if they has been issued, the maximum period for redemption can be 10 years. But in case of what kind of companies, infrastructure or any other kind of company, it can be how much? It can be more than 10 years also, but maximum will be 30 years. Okay, so this was all about section number 71 wala this question. Okay, now we are moving forward to the next question. Okay, so the next question here is question number 22. Okay, question number 22 is asking you कि as per section number 71 of the Companies Act, what percentage of value of outstanding debentures must be transferred to DRR? Okay, debenture redemption reserve. There is a reserve that has to be created. Okay, why? In order to redeem the debentures. Okay, so how much amount or what percentage of outstanding debentures ka that has to be transferred to DRR by NBFCs in case of public issue? So you have to remember कि they are asking you for the NBFCs particularly, and also you have to remember that they are trying to ask you for a public issue wala scenario. So please try to answer me this particular question. Yes, so the answer here is 25. Okay, so in case of NBFCs, okay, if what is happening is ki there was a scenario of public issue of debentures, or for any other company also, how much is the percentage of DRR that has to be created in normal scenario is 25%. Okay, but for NBFCs particularly, in case of what kind of placement, private placement, there is no requirement of what, for DRR. Okay, so this was an important point here ki in this particular scenario DRR key requirement is not there. Okay, so this was the provision of section number 71 and this was the answer of this particular question. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Next question is question number 23 and it is asking you ki under again under section number 71 of the Companies Act, every company is required to create a DRR, right? We have seen in the previous question also. Must on or before of 38th April of each year invest or deposit in a specified securities at least what percentage of amount of debentures maturing 31st March ko of that particular year. So what here this question is trying to ask you is ki suppose karo this is the financial year, okay, and this is the end of this financial year. So 31st March ko or in this particular year what will happen is ki certain amount of debentures will do what? They will get matured, right? And the repayment time or redemption time for these debentures will arrive. So in that scenario what will happen is ki before only in the April mein hi the company have to do what? Certain percentage of these debentures that are getting matured, they have to invest that percentage into certain amount of or certain specified where securities mein they have to invest. These securities are generally the securities that are with whom, with either some of the scheduled banks or with whom, with any of the government securities they have to invest in, right? So here the question is trying to ask you ki how much is the percentage for that. Okay, so the answer here is 15%. Okay, तो 15% की जो आपको अमाउंट है वो आपको उस पर्टिकुलर ईयर के 30th अप्रैल तक क्या कर देनी है? इन्वेस्ट कर देनी है वेयर इन द प्रिस्क्राइब्ड सिक्योरिटीज, वेदर इट इज़ द गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज और एनी अदर सिक्योरिटीज. ठीक है, सो दैट वॉट एवर द रिटर्न द कंपनी विल गेट ऑन दोज सिक्योरिटीज दैट विल ऑल्सो बी यूटिलाइज्ड वेयर इन केस ऑफ द रिडम्पशन ऑफ दोज डिबेंचर्स. ओके, नाउ वी आर मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Next question is question number 24. Question number 24 is, as per section number 123 of the Companies Act, when a company draws dividend from its accumulated profit, the total amount withdrawn in financial year shall not exceed what? Okay, so what happens is कि dividend can be given to the जो हमारे shareholders हैं from the current year profit also, from the accumulated profits also, right? So accumulated profits जो आपके हैं या whatever the reserves and surplus the company is having, right, from that also the dividend can be provided, right, after deducting any of the losses or any of the accumulated current year depreciation and also the accumulated depreciation. But once the money or the amount of money that has been taken from these reserves for the repayment of what, for the payment of what, for the payment of dividend, how much maximum amount that can be taken from the reserves and surplus, that is the question. Okay, so the maximum amount here is the 10% of paid up share capital and also free reserves. So the maximum can be 10% of paid up share capital. Please remember paid up. Okay, I have told you earlier also what is paid up. Okay, and also जो आपके free reserves हैं, once that has been done, how much amount should remain in the free reserves? Okay, अब ये this money has been taken out from the reserves in order to give the dividend, right? But अब reserve में certain amount of money रह जाना चाहिए, ठीक है, for the working और जो अच्छे से ताकि जो company है वो work कर सके. तो how much is that amount? That amount is 15% of what? 15% of paid up share capital. ठीक है, तो please remember this point also in this section. तो सेक्शन नंबर 123 आपको ये 2 पॉइंट्स इंपॉर्टेंट बता रहे हैं कि 10% मैक्सिमम निकाल सकते हो एंड ऑल्सो 15% ऑफ द पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल आपका रिजर्व्स में रिमेन हो जाना चाहिए. ओके, सो दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट क्वेश्चन नंबर क्वेश्चन नंबर 24. नाउ वी आर मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन विच इज़ कि अगर डिविडेंड has been declared by the company. Okay, once the declare has been declared, that has to be paid in within 30 days, okay, or has to be claimed by the shareholders in how much time? In 30 days, right? But if that has or that had not happened, okay, so then in how many days after those 30 days, what will happen is ki how many days में the company have to transfer that dividend की amount to a particular account which is known as the unpaid dividend account. Okay, so in how many days the company has to transfer that? Okay, this is the question here. Okay, and the answer here is 7 days. ठीक है, तो 7 days में the company will transfer what? Will transfer the amount to the unpaid dividend account if that has not been claimed by the जो हमारे शेयर होल्डर्स हैं. एंड इफ देयर इज एनी problem or anything that company has not or non-compliance in that particular scenario, what will happen is the company have to pay a certain amount of interest also, and that is that interest that is 12% per annum. Okay. Now moving forward to the next question. Next question is question number 26. Question number 26 is asking you कि if any amount remains unclaimed, ठीक है, in the unpaid dividend account after certain years, must it be transferred to IEPF. So there is a हमारा fund जहाँ पर unclaimed amount will be transferred under the section number 125. Okay, please remember the section for the IEPF account or IEPF fund, it is 125, right? So what happened is in the previous question we have seen is कि if the dividend has not been claimed by whom? By the shareholder for how much time? In within the 30 days, then that will be transferred to where? To the unpaid dividend account. In how many days? In next 7 days, right? अब वो जो हमारा dividend के amount है वो हमारे कहाँ पर रखा हुआ है? Unpaid dividend account में for a certain period of time, और उसको कोई लेने ही नहीं आया है. That has not been claimed by any of the shareholder, right? So in that scenario, that money will be transferred to another account which is known as the IEPF, okay, Investor Education and Protection Fund. But what is the period for that? So the period for that is 7 years. So if that has not been claimed for a period of 7 years, then it will transfer or it will get transferred to the to the IEPF account. But these 7 years should be consecutive years. So please remember कि ऐसे ही नहीं है कि either any of the 7 years. ठीक है, these 7 years should be consecutive 7 years. Okay, so this was all about question number 26. Now we are moving forward to the question number 27. Okay, question number 27 is asking you कि under section 123 of the Companies Act, within how many days from the declaration must the dividend amount be deposited in a separate bank account in a scheduled bank? Okay, so what will happen is कि dividend has been declared by the company. After certain days, the amount that has to be paid as dividend by the company will be transferred to a separate bank account. Okay, तो separate bank account में this amount will be transferred after certain days. So the question is asking you कि how many are those days? Okay, कितने days में आपको वो transfer करने? This is all about the question here. Okay, and the answer here is 5 days. Okay, तो 5 days में that amount to be transferred to a separate bank account. Okay, so this was the provision according to section number this. Please remember the section also. Now we are moving forward to the next question, which is question number 28. Okay, question number 28 is asking you कि as per section number 127 of the Companies Act, if a company defaults in distributing dividend within 30 days of declaration, it is liable to pay a simple interest at what rate during the default? Okay, we have seen कि if the money has not been transferred 7 days में to the unpaid dividend account, the percentage of interest will be 12%. But if the dividend has not been distributed in how many days? In 30 days from the declaration of dividend की जो हमारी date है, then also there will be certain amount of interest that the company have to pay, and that will be how much? That is the question, right? So you have to answer it. Please let me know the answers. Yes, so the answer here will be option number C. Okay, let's try to make this session more interactive. Okay, so the answer here will be See, 18% per annum the company have to pay if the company is not distributing the dividend within 30 days from the declaration of the dividend. Okay, and in this section there is a provision for penalty also. Please read the explanation later, okay, once this session ends. So this was all about this question. Now we are moving forward to the next question, which is question number हमारा 29. Okay, question number 29 is asking you section number 139 से related, which is from the chapter of audit वाला, हमारा जो auditors वाला chapter है. Now the questions from that chapter has started. So in this section number 139, companies must intimate to the ROC. What? To the ROC about the appointment of an auditor. Okay, which e-form is required to be filled for this purpose within 15 days. So once the auditor has been appointed, the companies have to inform to whom? To the ROC. In how many days? In 15 days in a form number, and the question is trying to ask you कि कौन सा form number है जो कि यहाँ पर use होगा. Okay, so please answer it. Okay, so the answer here is ADT 1. Okay, so ADT 1 में the company will inform. Now moving forward to the next question. In this question you have to remember कि कौन सा form number था. Also remember the days also कि 15 days में it has to be informed to the ROC. As I have told you earlier also कि generally most of the things that have to be informed to the ROC उनके लिए the time period is 30 days. But for the appointment of auditor it is 15 days. ठीक है, तो please don't get confused. Please try to remember it. Okay, now moving forward to the next question, which is question number 30. Question number 30 is asking you कि as per the section 139, okay, of the Companies Act, the first auditor of a company other than a government company must be appointed by the board of director within how many days. तो जो first auditor है for a company other than the government company must be appointed by the BOD, by the board of directors, in how many days? This is the question. Okay, please try to answer it. The question is trying to ask you for a company that is other than the government company. Okay, please try to attempt this question. Yes, so as I can see the chat, Shivani is answering a lot of questions correct. So I believe her preparation is very good, and I believe that she will sail through the exam very well only. So in this particular जो हमारा question है, the answer is B, 30 days में. So what the provision is for a company other than the government company? Firstly, the BOD will appoint the auditor in the how many days? In the 30 days. Okay. But if that does not happen, then in next 90 days in the EGM, who will appoint? The shareholders, okay, the members of the company. The members of the company or the shareholders of the company are actually or the final owners of the company, right? So EGM में they will appoint. This is the scenario for a company other than the government company. But if there is a company which is a government company, then what is the scenario here is कि firstly CAG will appoint. CAG is basically the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, is the ultimate authority for auditing. ठीक है, तो those will appoint in how many days? In 60 days. If that does not happen, then BOD will appoint in how many days? In 30 days. And if due to certain specific reasons that is also not happening, then who will appoint? Then it will be appointed by the next 60 days में आपके जो भी members of the company है, basically the shareholders of the company जो है. ठीक है, तो this was the provision for the appointment of auditor. Please remember the section number. Section number is 139. Okay, now moving forward to the next question. Next question is question number 31. Question number 31 is talking about the section number 140, which talks about the removal of an auditor before expiry of his term requires passing of which type of resolution. So which type of resolution you have to pass in order to remove an auditor? See, I believe this, that IBPS will ask one question from this kind of scenario कि कौन सा resolution pass होना है, special या फिर ordinary. तो it's better for you कि आप उसकी अलग से ही you write it down so that you would be able to revise it before the exam, है ना. तो you have still time for the exam. It's better कि आप यहाँ से you will revise it. Another type of question that can be asked is one question can come from the penalty. Okay, section number से definitely one question will come. Okay, and another the point is कि there are limits, there are certain limits. जैसे we have seen कि 20% in the case of associate company or 50% in the case of holding company. So these kind of question can be asked. Please try to remember them. Okay, so in this question they are asking you कि कौन सा resolution pass होना चाहिए. So it should be special resolution. Okay, now moving forward to the next जो हमारा question है, ठीक है. Question number 32. Question number 32 is asking you कि, give me a second. Okay, so question number 32 is asking you कि according to section number which? Section number 140, okay, of the Companies Act, which statutory form must be an auditor file within 30 days of the resignation with the company and registrar of the company. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर क्या होगा? Earlier in the section we have seen the auditor is getting removed. Now the auditor is giving the resignation only. ठीक है, तो he have to file or he have to give a form to whom? To the ROC also and to the company also. ठीक है, in how many days? In 30 days from the resignation. That is question has taught you. But now you have to tell कि कौन सा form number में they will or auditor will do it. So you have to tell the form number here in this particular question. Okay, please try to answer it. Okay, so the answer here is ADT 3. So ADT 3 आपको फाइल करने हैं as an auditor in case of resignation वाला point. ठीक है, please try to remember what? Please try to remember the 30 days की limit. Okay, also ADT 3 is there, 30 days limit is there. In case of government company you have to inform to CAG also. ठीक है, in case of other company you just have to inform to whom? To ROC and the company. In case of government company CAG is also included. Okay, also if there is any non-compliance for this section, what will happen is you have to pay what? You have to pay the fine also. Okay, तो अगर section number 140 का compliance has been happening, then you have to pay certain amount of fine also that has been mentioned here in the explanation. Now we are moving forward to the next question, question number 33. Okay, question number 33 is asking you कि according to section number 141 of the Companies Act, which of the following situations will disqualify a person from being appointed as an auditor? So if you have fulfilled, or what is the limitations for you, or you will get disqualified as an auditor if these are the situation or certain situation has been there in your scenario. Okay, or has been hampered by you. Okay, so please let me know the answer for this question. First option is trying to ask teach you कि or tell you कि his relative holds company securities worth more than 1 lakh. Relative के पास there is a security of more than 1 lakh से ज़्यादा. Also he or his partner is indebted to the company or its group of entities, either to the company or to the whom? To the group of entities, basically holding subsidiary or associate companies of that company, for how much? For excess of 5 lakh rupees. And also he or his relative has given a guarantee or security of more than how much rupees? Of more than 1 lakh rupees for a third party. ठीक है, and he is already an auditor for 20 or more companies simultaneously. So will he be he will be eligible to become an auditor still if these conditions are there, or will he be disqualified? That is the question. Okay, so he will be disqualified in all these above scenarios. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पर क्या होते हैं कि up to 1 lakh it is fine. Up to 1 lakh it is fine if the relative is having any of the securities in the company. Okay, auditor के पास तो zero amount of securities of the company होनी चाहिए, but with the relative up to 1 lakh it is fine. Okay, in case of what? In case of any debt वाला scenario, the maximum can be 5 lakh. Okay, ये वाला scenario है. Another is if the guarantee has been given by the either the relative, he can also give the guarantee, ठीक है, and his relative can also give the guarantee, then maximum is 1 lakh rupees वाला point. But security के case में only relative को the exemption has been provided, it has not been provided to the auditor. Okay, so this was the provision or of this section number 141, and that was the answer of this question. Now we are moving forward to the next question, which is question number 34. Okay, please try to answer this. So question number 34 is asking you कि as per section number what? Section number 143 of the Companies Act, frauds involving which amount must be reported by the auditor only to audit committee. Audit committee is a committee that has been formed according to section number 177 of the Companies Act or board of director, and not directly to the CG. Okay, so if there is a certain amount of fraud that has been seen by the auditor or has been detected by the auditor, those will be informed to the audit committee and BOD only, and not to the CG, जो हमारी CG है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को. तो कितनी अमाउंट तक की वो हमारी frauds हैं that can be informed to the committee or BOD, right? So that is the question. Please try to answer this. Okay, so the answer here is less than 1 crore. So if there is any fraud that is less than 1 crore जितना, then that can only be informed to the audit committee and BOD, ठीक है. But if there is any fraud that is up 1 crore या उससे ज़्यादा, then what will happen is कि auditor have to inform to whom? To the central government directly. That was the provision of section number 143. Please try to remember section number, and this is an important point that you remember the section number and also the form number. तो अगर 1 crore या उससे ज़्यादा का there is any fraud, that will be informed to the CG by the auditor directly. In which form number? Form number ADT 4. Okay, so this was all about the section number 143 का this provision. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Next question is asking you about the section number 144. Which of the following services is not prohibited for an auditor to provide under सेक्शन नंबर 144 ऑफ द कंपनीज एक्ट. ठीक है, तो कंपनीज एक्ट के अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस सेक्शन टेल्स यू और टीचेज यू कि देर आर सर्टेन सर्विसेज दैट कैन नॉट बी प्रोवाइडेड बाय एन ऑडिटर. ठीक है, बट देर इज वन सर्विस इन फ्रॉम दीज ऑप्शंस द ऑडिटर स्टिल कैन प्रोवाइड. सो यू हैव टू टेल द आंसर फॉर दैट सर्विस. ओके, please let me know the answer. Okay, so the answer here is tax audit. So auditor can still provide the tax audit wali service according to section 144, but internal audit, accounting and bookkeeping, investment banking and management services cannot be provided by the auditor. ठीक है, क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं होगा ना कि आप ही बुक्स बनाओगे and then you will only the check, आप ही उसको चेक करोगे, तो ऐसा नहीं होगा. ओके, तो that's why the section number 144 has prohibited certain kind of services that will not be provided by the auditor to the company. Okay, now moving forward to the section number 100, question number 36 and section number 148 से related this question is, it is asking you within how many days must a company forward the cost auditor's report to the CG after receiving it from the BOD. तो what will happen is कि section 148 talks about the cost audit, कि cost audit हो सकता है that can be conducted by the company. ठीक है, once the report has been given by the auditor to the company, that report will be provided to CG by the company. तो this question is trying to ask you कि within how many days this report has to be provided. Okay, please try to answer it. So the answer here is 30 days. Okay, 30 days में the report has to be provided to whom? To the CG by the company after receiving it from the cost जो हमारा audit करने के लिए the person has been appointed. Okay, now moving forward to the next point. As per section 149 of the Companies Act, what is the minimum number of directors required in public company? So now this section 149 is talking about the directors वाला point, and here you have to tell कि how much will be the minimum number of directors, okay, that are required. Please let me know this. In case of a public company, the question is trying to ask you. Okay, so the answer here is 3. ठीक है, in case of a public company, how many directors the company can have? Minimum 3. In case of a private company, this limit is 2, and for one person company, it is 1. Okay, and the maximum directors can be 15 directors. Can this limit of 15 be increased? Yes, that is also possible, but by passing a special resolution. So this was all about section number 149 का provision about the minimum director and the maximum directors. Okay, so this was all about section this question number 37. Now we are moving forward to the next question, which is question number 38. Question number 38 is teaching you or asking you about the women director. Okay, so which of the following companies is not mandatorily required to appoint at least one women director under section 149 of the Companies Act? So section 149 talks about certain things. Number 1 is the minimum and maximum director. ठीक है, उसके अलावा it also talks about the women director, and then it also talks about the independent director. So these are certain points that are mentioned in section number 149, and this is a very important section. Please try to read it if you have not read it yet. तो यहाँ पर क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछ रहा है कि कंपनीज के लिए कौन विमेन डायरेक्टर नॉट मैंडेटरी नहीं है, रिक्वायर्ड टू अपॉइंट एटलीस्ट वन विमेन डायरेक्टर. कौन सी वाली कंपनी के लिए मैंडेटरी नहीं है? ठीक है, यू हैव टू टेल दैट. सो ऑप्शन नंबर ए इज एवरी लिस्टेड कंपनी, पब्लिक कंपनी जिनकी पेड अप कैपिटल इज 100 करोड़ और मोर. ठीक है, एंड ऑल्सो एनी अदर पब्लिक कंपनी जिसकी टर्नओवर इज 300 करोड़ और मोर, एंड ऑल्सो प्राइवेट कंपनी विद बोरोइंग ऑफ 50 करोड़ or none of these. So what will be the answer? Please let me know in the comment section. What will be the answer? Okay, so the answer here is option number D. तो बाकी सारे सिनेरियोज में एवरी लिस्टेड कंपनी को विमेन डायरेक्टर अपॉइंट करना इंपॉर्टेंट है. पब्लिक कंपनी जिसकी पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल इज 100 करोड़ और मोर, फॉर पब्लिक कंपनी टर्नओवर आल्सो 100 करोड़ और 300 करोड़ और मोर. तो दीज काइंड ऑफ कंपनीज हैव टू अपॉइंट whom? Appoint a women director according to section number 149 of the Companies Act. Okay, now we are moving forward to the next question, which is question number 39. As per section 149 of the Companies Act, what proportion of board of director in a listed public company must consist of independent director? Okay, तो जो आपकी listed company है उसमें listed public companies में how much should be the independent directors? This is that question is trying to ask you. Okay, according to section number 149, option A is saying 1, B is 2, at least 1/3 of the total number of directors, half of the total number of directors, or 2/3 of the total number of directors. Okay, please try to answer it in the comment section. Yes, absolutely right. Shivani, you are answering all the questions correct only. So here the answer will be C. At least 1/3 of the total number of directors should be independent director according to section number 149. Okay. Now we are moving forward to the see, in this point there is another point also that you have to read. Ki if there is a unlisted public company, then what will happen is ki if their paid up share capital is 10 crore or more, ठीक है, turnover is 100 crore or more, ठीक है, एंड बोरोइंग्स 50 करोड़ और मोर है, तो इन दैट सिनेरियो एटलीस्ट 2 इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर दे शुड ऑल्सो हैव. ठीक है, तो प्लीज ट्राई टू रिमेंबर दिस पॉइंट ऑल्सो ऑफ सेक्शन नंबर 149. ओके, नाउ वी आर मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, क्वेश्चन नंबर 40. क्वेश्चन नंबर 40 इज आस्किंग यू कि अकॉर्डिंग टू सेक्शन नंबर 151 ऑफ द कंपनीज एक्ट, व्हाट इज द मैक्सिमम नॉमिनल वैल्यू of shares that qualifies a person as a small shareholder. तो हमारा section 151 talks about कि who is a small shareholder and what are the provisions for a person to, what are the provisions for a company to appoint a small shareholder director, right? तो यहाँ पर the question is asking you कि how much वैल्यू का, नॉमिनल वैल्यू का शेयर कैपिटल और शेयर्स a person is holding will be qualified as a small shareholder. So please let me know the answer. Whether it is 20,000, 25,000, 10,000, 50,000 or 15,000. Okay. So the answer here is 20,000. Okay, 20,000 तक की अगर नॉमिनल वैल्यू है, then in that scenario you will be known as what? As a small shareholder. And let us try to understand also कि what are the provision for the small shareholder director appoint करने के लिए कि if there is a listed company, ठीक है, that can appoint a small shareholder director if there are at least 1000 जो उनके members हैं, they are small shareholders, or 1/10 of the total number of shareholders are small shareholders. Either 1000 are small shareholders, okay, or 1/10 of the total जो हमारे members हैं उसका is small shareholder. Then in that scenario they have to appoint a listed company have to appoint what? A small shareholder director. Whichever is lower वाली limit is also there. ठीक है, तो we will see the lower. Now once a small shareholder director has been appointed for, it will be appointed for a consecutive terms of 3 years. Further, once his tenure ends, he cannot be reappointed for a period of 3 years. तो उसकी tenure will be for 3 years, and once he is मतलब उसका tenure has ended, then next 3 years के लिए cooling period will be there. ठीक है, तो that was all about the small shareholder director वाला point. Now we are moving forward to the next जो हमारा question है, which is question number 41. Question number 41 is asking you कि in which form must a proposed director furnish his consent to act as a director under section 152 of the Companies Act. ठीक है, तो once a director has been given the position to become a director, okay, he have to give what? He have to propose his consent also in a particular form number, right? So this question is asking you what is that form number. Please try to answer it. Okay, so the answer here is DIR 2. DIR 2 में the director will give the consent. Okay, so the director will give the consent in DIR 2 and the company will inform to the ROC in how many days? In 30 days. ठीक है, in which DIR form? In DIR 12. ठीक है, so this was all about this particular question. Now we are moving forward to the next question. Next question is under section number 152, in public companies, what proportion of directors must retire by rotation at every AGM? ठीक है, so there is a provision of retirement by rotation. This is a very important provision. So how much will be the number of directors that will retire by rotation? Okay, that is the question trying to ask you in every AGM. Okay, so please try to answer it. 1/2 of all directors, 1/3 of all directors, ठीक है, 1/3 of the rotational directors, 2/3 of all directors, or all directors except independent directors. How much will retire in every AGM? Please try to answer it. See, answer here will be option number C. Okay, option number C is telling you कि 1/3 of the rotational directors. Okay, what happens is कि in a company there will be certain directors जो कि there will be certain limit, एक हमारी amount होगी, that much will be the directors. उसका 2/3 will be what? 2/3 will be the rotational directors. ठीक है, और वो जो हमारे 2/3 rotational directors होंगे उसका भी कितना? 1/3 directors will retire in every AGM. That is, this provision is trying to teach you according to section number 152. Okay, and in what way they will retire? They will retire on FIFO basis. कि whoever has been holding the office for a longer period of time, that director will retire first. So that was all about this question, question number 42. Now we are moving forward to the next question, question number 43. Which form must a resigning director file with the ROC within 30 days of resignation along with reasons of resignation? ठीक है, तो कौन से वाला form number you have to find? You have to file with the ROC as a director in case you are resigning. ठीक है, please let me know the answer of this question. Please try to remember the form numbers and the section numbers, okay, because I believe it that IBPS will definitely ask you one of the questions from these two things, right? Okay, so the answer here is option number हमारा B, which is DIR 11. तो DIR 11 में the director will do what? Director will send a copy to the ROC, ठीक है, in the DIR 11, ठीक है. Within how many days? Within 30 days with the reasons, okay. And company will also inform to the ROC in DIR 12, ठीक है. So in case of appointment of director or in case of either resignation of or retirement of director, the company is using which form number? DIR 12 only, ठीक है. The director का जो form number है वो change हो रहा है, but company तो DIR 12 ही use करिए. You can remember it like this also, ठीक है. Now we are moving forward to the next जो हमारा question है, which is question number 44. It is asking you कि within how many days from the incorporation must a company hold its board meeting under section number 173 of the Companies Act. तो Companies Act के according section number 173 is asking you कि first board meeting should be under how many days from the date of incorporation of the company, right? So the options here are, number 1 is 60 days, 90 days and 45 days, 15 days or 30 days, okay? So please try to answer it. First board meeting from the incorporation of the company. The question is asking you that, okay? I can see a lot of people are asking, are answering very well only. So I would like to appreciate you all that you are preparing very well. Okay, so the answer here will be in how many days? In 30 days. Okay, so answer here is 30 days में आपको incorporation से first board meeting conduct करा लेनी है. That was all about it. But there is a हमारा relaxation also provided to the IFSC and the private companies for कि उनको 60 days का यहाँ पर limit has been given to them, right? So this was all about section number 40, question number 44. Now we are moving forward to the next question, question number 45. Okay, question number 45 is asking you कि what is the quorum required for board meeting in a section 8 company under section 174 is telling you about the quorum of the Companies Act का section number 174 is teaching you about the quorum of the company, ठीक है. Quorum of a meeting कितना होना चाहिए कि minimum number of directors that are to be there available in the meeting कितने होने चाहिए, that has been given according to section number 774. But here they are specifically asking for the section 8 company. Okay, so here you have to answer कि how much will be the quorum for section 8 companies. Okay, please read the option and try to answer it. This is a very good question. Okay, so the options are 1/3 of the total strength or 2 directors whichever is higher, 8 members or 25% of the total strength whichever is less with a minimum 2 independent members, ठीक है. उसके अलावा 1/2 जो है हमारा of the total strength or 4 director whichever is higher, 5 members or 30% of the total strength whichever is less. Okay, so the answer here is option number B. Okay, so 8 members और 25% ऑफ द जो भी टोटल डायरेक्टर्स थे उसका कितना 25% और 8, ठीक है, विच एवर इज लेस विद अ मिनिमम ऑफ 2 मेंबर्स, ठीक है, कि मतलब 2 तो होने ही चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये 25% की जो और 8 की मतलब 25% की लिमिट उससे कम जा रही है अगर, तो 2 से तो कम नहीं जानी चाहिए, राइट. दैट इज़ द प्रोविजन ऑफ this particular section. In general scenario, what is the quorum? 1/3 of the total directors, ठीक है, और how much? 1/3 of the total directors और 2 directors, ठीक है, whichever is higher. Okay, so you have to remember this कि this is the quorum का general rule and for section 8 company this is the rule. Also please don't get confused in between higher and lower, ठीक है. Now moving forward to the next question. Only 4-5 questions are left. Okay, so here they are asking you कि as per section number 177 which talks about the audit committee, what is the minimum number of directors required to constitute an audit committee, ठीक है. Option A 5, 7, option B, option C is 2, ऑप्शन डी इज 10 और ऑप्शन ई इज 3. सो मिनिमम नंबर ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स जो कि होने चाहिए इन ऑर्डर टू फॉर्म एन ऑडिट कमिटी, दैट इज द क्वेश्चन इज ट्राइंग टू आस्क यू. प्लीज ट्राई टू आंसर इट. So in order to form an audit committee, the minimum number of directors are 3. Okay. So 3 are the minimum number of directors and majority should be what? Should be independent directors. ठीक है. We have read or you must have read section number 149 talks about the independent director का what? Eligibility criteria की which kind of persons will be considered as the independent director. Okay, but don't get confused because section number 150 talks about the manner and procedure of selection of independent director. तो 150 teaches you कि select कैसे करेंगे independent director को to hire in the company, right? But what are the eligibility conditions for an independent director that has been mentioned in which section? In section number 149. Okay, so please remember it. Now moving forward to the next question. Next question is question number 47, which is asking you कि a company is permitted to enter into a transactions of giving loan or guarantee or providing security or acquiring of securities, right? That is share या debenture acquire कर सकती है company in the aggregate up to dash of the paid up share capital, free reserves and security premium or 100% of free reserves and security premium, whichever is more. तो यहाँ पर you have to fill in the blank. Okay, so here the question is asking you कि company is permitted to get or enter into a transaction of giving loan, guarantee or providing securities. ठीक है, तो कितना maximum तक का जो company है can enter into these kind of transaction, कितनी amount maximum तक का the company can provide the money for give the loan or acquire the securities or give any kind of guarantee. ठीक है, so that is the question. So please try to answer it, whether it is 15%, okay, 30, 45, 60 or 75%. What will be the answer? Please let me know once. Try to be more interactive in the chat session. Okay, so the answer here is 60%. Okay, option number D. तो 60% मैक्सिमम जो कंपनी दे सकती है वो कितना यहाँ पर इन ट्रांजेक्शन्स के लिए द money that can be provided by a company is 60% of what? Of the paid up share capital or free reserves or 100% of the free reserve. तो 60% of paid up share capital plus free reserves or 100% of free reserves only. ठीक है, तो this is the whatever is जो हमारा क्या है higher है उतना तक company can is permitted to get into such kind of transactions, right? Now moving forward to the next question. Next question is question number 48. This question is now from the section number 27 which talks about the NCLT and NCLAT जो हमारा ट्रिब्यूनल है और जो हमारा appellate ट्रिब्यूनल है from that particular chapter. These questions are which of the following is not a valid qualification for being appointed as a technical member. सिर्फ technical member का पूछ रहा है and also for which NCLT यानी कि ट्रिब्यूनल से रिलेटेड, राइट? एंड दिस हैज़ बीन गिवन इन सेक्शन नंबर 409. सो प्लीज ट्राई टू रिमेंबर दैट एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया फॉर द टेक्निकल मेंबर और द प्रेसिडेंट और द जुडिशियल मेंबर फॉर द ट्रिब्यूनल हैज़ बीन गिवन इन विच सेक्शन? इन सेक्शन नंबर 409. ओके, सो प्लीज ट्राई टू आंसर कि विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग विल नॉट. यहाँ पर पूछा है कौन से वाला नहीं होगा. सो प्रैक्टिसिंग एज अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट या फिर कोस्ट अकाउंटेंट और एज अ कंपनी सेक्रेटरी फॉर एटलीस्ट 15 ईयर्स. ठीक है, अगर कोई पर्सन है हु हैज़ बीन प्रैक्टिसिंग एज दीज पीपल फॉर मिनिमम 15 ईयर्स और मोर, वेदर ही इज एलिजिबल और नॉट. ठीक है, दैट इज द क्वेश्चन. अनदर पॉइंट इज सर्विंग एज अ मेंबर ऑफ हमारा इंडियन कॉर्पोरेट लॉ लीगल सर्विस फॉर एटलीस्ट 15 ईयर्स with 3 years as joint secretary. ठीक है, another point is having special knowledge and experience of not less than 15 years in law. ठीक है, और फाइनेंस और मैनेजमेंट और जो भी हमारे ये वाले मैटर्स हैं. हैविंग बीन एन एडवोकेट ऑफ कोर्ट फॉर एटलीस्ट 10 years और हैविंग सर्व्ड एज अ प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर ऑफ अ लेबर कोर्ट ट्रिब्यूनल फॉर एटलीस्ट 5 years. Okay, so these are the options and you have to choose the one that is not valid. Okay, so please try to answer here कि which one will be the criteria that is there that is not valid for the appointment of a technical member for NCLT according to section number 149. Okay, so the answer here is option number डी, ठीक है। तो बाकी सारे जो हैं हमारे वो एलिजिबिलिटी के क्राइटेरिया हैं, सो यू हैव टू रिमेंबर ऑल ऑफ देम, ठीक है, कि कौन कौन से पीपल हैं दोज कैन बी अपॉइंटेड, प्लीज ट्राई टू रिमेंबर इट, एंड हाउ मच इज द एक्सपीरियंस का ईयर। नाउ मूविंग फॉरवर्ड टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन विच इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 49, ठीक है। क्वेश्चन नंबर 49 इज आस्किंग यू कि विद हाउ मेनी डेज कैन मतलब विद इन हाउ मेनी डेज कैन एन एग्रीव्ड पर्सन फाइल एन appeal to Supreme Court against an order of appellate tribunal under section which? Section number 423. Okay, so this question is asking you ki there were certain grievances that you have given to, or you have those has gone to NCLAT. Okay, and now what happened is ki you as a party are not satisfied with the whatever hearing that has been or resolution that has been provided to you by the NCLAT, right? Now what you want to do is that you want to go to the with your grievances to whom? To the Supreme Court. But in how many days whether you can go to the Supreme Court with your grievances, that is the question, right? So please try to answer it. Whether it is 30 days, 45 days, 60 days or 75 days or 90 days. Okay, so the answer here is 60 days. See, if there is any problem, अगर आप NCLT से क्या हो satisfied नहीं हो with the provisions or resolution that has been provided by the NCLT, then in that scenario what you can do is you can appeal to NCLAT, ठीक है, in how many days? In 45 days, ठीक है। But if there are certain specific reasons कि आप 45 days में you were unable to reach the NCLAT, then in that scenario what will happen is you can get a extended period of 45 days, okay. But if you are not happy with the provisions of what? With the solution and resolution that has been provided to you by the NCLAT, then again you can go to Supreme Court, okay. In how many days? In 60 days, and this period can also be extended if there are certain reasons those were valid only, तो इसको भी हम 60 days के लिए extend भी कर सकते हैं, okay. So this was all about section number 423 which was asking you about the कि कितने time में you can reach or you can appeal to whom? To the Supreme Court, right? Now we are moving forward to the last question for today, which is question number 50, which is asking you ki as per section 413 of the Companies Act 2013, what is the maximum age limit for the chairperson of the NCLAT? So you have to tell the maximum age limit for the chairperson of the appellate tribunal, okay. So the options here are 60 years, 65 years, okay, 67 years, 70 years or 72 years. तो chairperson की maximum age limit you have to tell for the appellate tribunal, okay. Please try to answer this. Yes, Avnish is right. So the answer here will be how much? 70. Okay. So for chairperson the maximum age is 70 for the appellate tribunal. Okay. Let us try to revise बाकी people की भी जो हमारी age limit है. That is for the chairperson it is, for the NCLAT का chairperson it is 70 years. Okay. If there is any judicial member or technical member of where? Of appellate tribunal, then that is 67 years. Okay. The maximum age limit. Also for the people who are the president, if there is any president of whom? NCLT का अगर president is there, then for him the maximum age is 67 years. And for the members of the हमारा NCLT, whether which kind of members these are? These are either can be the हमारा judicial member or technical member, the limit will be 65 years. These are the maximum limits. But now I would like to ask you one thing also, कि what or how much will be the minimum limit, okay. Please try to answer the minimum limit also, कि इतनी age तो होनी ही चाहिए in order to get appointed as a member where? In the tribunal, okay. Please try to answer what is or how much will be the minimum age limit. So the minimum age limit is 50 years, okay. So this was all about section number हमारा 413 it was, okay. So which tells you about the age limits, okay. Okay, so we are done with our top 50 MCQs for the Companies Act. Okay, I believe that you were able to revise a lot from this and you were able to test yourself. Okay, I believe that all of you have prepared well. I can see that there were many aspirants who were answering right answers also. So I would like to appreciate them and I would like to tell them that please be confident and I believe that आपका exam अच्छा होगा and all the best for your examination. Okay.